just knew everybody, and he was a huge in the community, and just everybody knew him. So there's going to be a lot of people there.
It's going to be a packed Rust
Yes.
Belt.
Yes.
And if people aren't able to make it out on Valentine's Day, or if they just want another way to help the family, you're wearing a QC Rock Academy shirt right now. Tell me about the fundraiser, the shirt fundraiser that's happening.
It's a collaboration with QC Custom Tees, and you can purchase T-shirts through QC Custom Tees online. They will also be on site printing shirts. In fact, you can bring your own shirt or sweatshirt or other item that you would want to have printed, and they'll do it right there on site for a nominal fee.
And you have until February 1st to get your T-shirt order in?
I believe that's right, but you'll be able
Early
to.
February, yeah.
You will be able to get them on site.
If you missed that headline. Well, looking ahead, you know, beyond February, even I should say right now, what's next for the Rock Academy? I know you've been getting a lot of phone calls, people wondering, are you still giving lessons or what's going on?
Well, January is usually a pretty big time for us because everybody gets new instruments for Christmas. It's like new guitar on the Christmas tree. So we've been answering phone calls and emails because Greg used to do all that, and now we're kind of doing it. And it's like a lot of people. So just continue on as usual.
Yeah, we've had a lot of interest in new lessons. There's a lot of incoming students, and we are very much continuing to do lessons. We have other events coming up. We have, you know, recitals and
Little kid bands, and we're going to start new. We always, January, February, try to put together new bands. So we're going to be doing that.
Yep.
And gosh, doesn't that just sound exactly like what Greg would want? Is just have a bunch of
Absolutely.
new bands come out of something
We
like
plan
this.
to uphold his vision.
Yes, exactly that.
Well, guys, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you being here, and we know it's going to be a wild turnout on February 14th in East Moline. Thank you both for being
Rocking
here.
good time. Thank you.
Thank you.
For you guys at home, we have a link to that shirt fundraiser and all the details about the benefit concert up on our website. Just click on the As Seen on TV tab at the top of the homepage.
All right, one last check of what we've got ahead, and that is Ask Andrew Live. No, it's not Wednesday, but we have a lot to talk about with this cold air coming in and some snow for the weekend. So stick around, literally probably 90 seconds or so. Give me a minute to reposition myself on my stool over here. We'll get started with answering all of your questions about the cold coming up this weekend, right here in the app.
Questions, complaints.
I'll take the complaints too.
Where can I lodge all of my complaints that I have for this weekend, Andrew?
Well, send them to James. No, I'm kidding. No, we don't want to do that.
I didn't say it. I didn't start nothing. All right. We'll see you here in just a little bit, Andrew. And we thank you so much for watching GMPC at 8. We'll also be back at 11
That
o'clock.
is a beautiful live look to end on. Deceivingly warm with that sunrise, because we all know it is chilly, chilly out there. What is that? Is that our Dixon cam?
Prophetstown.
Prophetstown.
And it may be frozen from earlier this morning.
Oh.
Continue with us and watch free now on the 8 Plus app everywhere you stream.
And a good Thursday morning, Quad Cities. It is 9 o'clock, actually 9:03 on the dot. And we're doing an extra little stream here this morning to talk about this Arctic air that will be coming in for the upcoming weekend and tomorrow as well. Don't want to forget about that. So if you haven't heard by now, yeah, we have a weather impact alert in place starting late tonight, all day long tomorrow, and also into a good part of our Saturday. So what we're going to do here in about the next 10 to 15 minutes, first of all, of course, track in all of this cold air, when we're going to see the lowest of the wind chills and how long those will stick around. Plus, we also have some snow opportunities this weekend to talk about as well. And we'll see how those are trending. And we'll take a look at some model data on the fly this morning too. So lots to discuss. Welcome on in. If you have a question, if you're watching on our Facebook simulcast, you can put it right there in the comments section, and I'll be able to see it and I'll answer it there. You can also, if you're watching us on the 8 Plus app, you can text that question to the number on your bottom of your screen right down here, 309-304-0888. Easy to remember, and you can send your question in that way too. And we're going to, once again, kind of keep it limited to just the winter storm and the Arctic outbreak that we're going to be dealing with heading into the weekend, because that's our main focus here for a few minutes. So let's start with the headlines and what is what here in terms of who's got what for a cold weather watch or a cold weather warning. This is going to be a very widespread, wide-spanning storm system that's going to be moving through the center part of the country. And I'll start with showing you just all of the watches and the warnings and the advisories. So everything that you're seeing in that teal color, that teal blue, that is a winter storm watch. And that sucker is huge. It expands all the way from Albuquerque, New Mexico, nearly the entire state of Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, the entire state of Tennessee, Kentucky, even into Virginia and part of the Carolinas, all the way up through Ohio and Pennsylvania. These areas that are under the winter storm watch, those are the areas that are going to get all of the ice and all of the heavy snow. Notice we don't have any of our hometowns here this far north under a winter storm watch. So we're not expecting a very large amount of snow with this system. What we are expecting is a very large outbreak of Arctic air, and I'm going to clear that graphic off. There it is. That's an extreme cold warning for the entire Quad Cities region. It covers just about the entire state of Iowa, but it does cover the entire state of Minnesota and the entire state of Wisconsin, that extreme cold warning. That goes into place late tonight all the way through Saturday morning, as we're expecting not only temperatures to be significantly below zero, but the wind chill will also be significantly below zero as well. Take a look at where this air is coming from. These are the temperatures. This is not the wind chill. This is the actual temperature. Look at that reading there near Barons River Airport. And I'm going to put my little arrow on the screen here. 29 degrees below zero, 27 below here in Cold Lake, and then you have 26 degrees below zero at Big Trout Lake. That sounds like a good fishing spot. Probably not very comfortable to fish there right now, though, because it's 26 degrees below zero. But this is the air, the magnitude of the cold air that's going to be spilling down into our region late tonight into tomorrow. Now, no, we're not going to see our actual temperature drop to 29 below zero. The reason it's so cold up there is because they have snow on the ground and a significant amount of snow. So this air will modify somewhat or slightly warm up as it moves here where we don't have any snow on the ground, but still it is going to punch an absolute, or pack an absolute punch that is heading into tomorrow. So to recap what's going on with our impact alerts, weather impact alert now in place and still in place for tomorrow all the way through at least the first half of Saturday. And we first issued this on Monday. So you've had almost about a week to prepare for this. And I'm really hoping that if schools are going to decide to cancel or delay, that they get those decisions made by this evening. This has been something, again, we've been talking about for nearly a week. So we should not be seeing a lot of last-minute decisions being made first thing tomorrow morning in terms of school cancellations or delays. Those decisions should be easily made again, I think, by this evening. And you could probably even tune into our early evening and late evening newscasts or head to WQ80.com as early as later today to start seeing some of those school cancellations or delays trickling in as superintendents across our region are making those decisions. So let's talk about the cold air when the worst of the worst for the wind chills is going to arrive. We're going to take you straight to our wind chill tracker with our in-house future track model. And that's what you're seeing here. These are wind chills, so not the temperature, but the wind chill. And it is early as 8 o'clock tonight when we start seeing these 15 to 20 below zero readings, especially north of the Quad Cities here along the Highway 20 corridor. nasty stuff coming in. And it quickly goes downhill from there, so that by the time we wake up tomorrow morning and get our day started, we're 40 to 45 below, where you're seeing kind of this blood red orange color here. That's where the really nasty and life-threatening wind chills will be. It modifies a little bit the further south you get, but still 35 below zero, that feels nasty. 30 below zero is what it will feel like in our southernmost hometowns as we wake up tomorrow morning. Let's get into the lunch hour. 12 noon to 1 o'clock, we're still seeing some 25 to 30 below zero wind chill readings, especially here in the Quad Cities and points to the north. And then we're in the teens here below zero for wind chills for the afternoon. But this is one of those events where we don't see much improvement, even during the daytime when the sun is out. It's because the wind is relentless and the temperatures tomorrow will not get above zero. We're on track to spend about 34 to 36 hours with temperatures below zero here in the Quad Cities from late tonight all the way into early Saturday morning. We'll see those rise above zero as we get into Saturday afternoon. Now, the reason we're seeing this cold air come in, I showed this graphic earlier in the month of January, and I actually showed it in late December too, right after Christmas. We were tracking the polar vortex. And when we were talking about the polar vortex in late December, it was actually strong. It was intact. It was staying up in the North Pole where it belongs. Now what's happened is, now that we're just about out of January here, it was strong for much of the month of January. We actually enjoyed some really nice warm temperatures earlier this month. But now that polar vortex is weakening, and you can clearly see that. What you want in a strong polar vortex is you would see it in a near perfect circle right here. Well, look what the polar vortex has done. It's kind of split off into two chunks. You've got one chunk here on the other side of the continent and another chunk here, which is the one that we're dealing with. It almost looks like the shape of the continent of Africa, which is kind of interesting in itself there. But this is not a perfect circle, which means the polar vortex has weakened significantly, and that's what allows it to move freely across the globe and come down and get close to us here. Now, we're not seeing the actual polar vortex tomorrow and Saturday. We're seeing an offshoot of the polar vortex. Think of it as one of its children that has gone rogue and has run away from the parent. That's what we're seeing. But it is no doubt going to be very cold with this next round of temperatures tomorrow into Saturday. Now let's switch gears and talk snow, because you may have seen some maps flying around on social media saying that we're going to get half a foot of snow here in the Quad Cities or even to the south of us this weekend. We just got in our brand new run of our in-house future track model about an hour ago, a little bit less than an hour ago. And it continues to push the bulk of the snow well to our south, including Saturday. This is a big change from what we saw earlier this morning. Now keeping that snow south to start the weekend. Could we have some light snow and some snow flurries and snow showers around here? Absolutely. But the accumulating impactful snow is going to be way, way south. I'm going to pull this back open, and we're going to manually go through some steps in time here, because that's what we can do on the air. So I'm actually going to take this into Sunday, and we're going to stop this at about 6 a.m. Sunday, because that's where the data stops right now with our short-range model. But I want you to see that, again, we're not seeing really much in the way of snow here in the Quad Cities. It does appear if you're in Burlington, Macomb, on Monmouth, perhaps into Galesburg, you could pick up an inch or two as we head into Sunday. But by and large, the snow with this system is on track to stay way to the south of us. And look at all of the snow that they are expecting heading into parts of southern Illinois, into Missouri, Arkansas, the Ohio Valley, into Pennsylvania. That is going to be a very impressive snow system. So I'm going to delete a couple of things on here really quick. I'm going to zoom this out so you can kind of see how this winter storm is going to evolve and take shape as we head into the weekend. So it comes in kind of two waves. The first wave causes a massive freezing rain and icing event for North Texas into Arkansas, northern Louisiana through much of Tennessee. Significant ice is likely there. And then the second piece of energy finally comes around the bend here and starts producing snow to our south. So overall, it does appear that, yes, we're going to miss out on the bulk of the snowfall with this system heading into the weekend, but I can't rule out some light snowfall amounts that is going down to Burlington, Galesburg, Monmouth, and Macomb. I'm going to pull up our snowfall tracker, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip the numbers off of the graphic here because, again, it's not really impressive. But what I want to do is I want to be able to zoom out on this so you can see where the really heavy snow is going to be for this weekend. So I'm going to delete a couple of little settings here in terms of where we're centered on for our geolocation. We're going to let the model load itself up there. And yeah, this easily shows that we're going to be just on the fringe of really having an impactful snow through at least 11 o'clock Saturday night. Now, again, we have this through Sunday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shove this data out to 6 a.m. Sunday. And we're going to do this right on the fly here. And we're going to see that data kind of fill itself in here for a quick second. So this is now through 6 a.m. Sunday. And again, we're still missing the bulk of the snow. You're seeing about an inch or two at most south of the Quad Cities. Not much up here in the metro, certainly not much to the north. Now, this is our in-house model. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a couple of different model solutions. We're going to switch over to the GFS, the Global Forecast System. This is the American model, as a very similar scenario to our in-house model, keeping the heaviest snow to our south. Those are some blockbuster snowfall totals, by the way. This thing is starting to crank out. Let's not set those in stone this early in the game, those 12 to 15 and 15 plus inch snow totals. Is it a possibility? Yes. Is it going to happen? Likely not. But it just goes to show you what I'm trying to tell you is the bulk of the, again, impactful snowfall is going to be the south of us. Now, the one rogue model, surprisingly, the last few days has been the European model. And normally the European model is very good with winter systems. But for some reason, this one is just underestimating the strength of the Arctic high and trying to bring in a little bit more impactful snow much further to the north for the upcoming weekend. Notice our southern hometowns in the European solution are 3 to 6, potentially a little bit more as you head south of there into Peoria, Quincy, and also into Springfield. But it gives more of us a coating of that 1 to 2, 2 to 3 heading into Saturday night and into early Sunday. I'm still not 100% sold on this solution. I think it's too far north in terms of the snow because this Arctic high pressure system coming in is extremely strong. It's almost record-breaking strong, and for some reason the European model is just not really picking up on that scenario at all for whatever reason. Let's look at the Canadian and see what that's got. Unfortunately, the Canadian doesn't go out that far either, so you can see a little bit of what I'm talking about, the southern extent of that snow on the Canadian model there. We'll see if we can also pull up the start of the North American model, the NAM, and see what that's got. And like the Euro, it's going a little bit more robust on the snowfall totals here as well, bringing most of us in a range of 1 to 2 to 2 to 3 inches. But even this, I still think, is a little bit too far to the north. So I'm really, really aiming for the GFS solution to kind of be the winner here. Again, our in-house graph model, which I'll load back up here for you, also showing what I think is likely going to happen, and that if you are, again, south of the Quad Cities, that's where you're going to pick up a couple of inches. Now, the thing to remember with this snow as it falls this weekend, we're still going to be dealing with some gusty winds. And this is going to be falling in a very cold air mass, this snow is. So it's not going to be wet, it's not going to be heavy, it's going to be very light, and it's going to be extremely powdery. So that means with this wind whipping up all over the place, it's not going to really have a chance to land anywhere and stay there for a long period of time. So this snow is going to be blowing and drifting all over the place. Now, we don't have a winter weather advisory or a blizzard warning or anything like that. that's something I think we're going to have to keep an eye on going into the weekend, and it's all dependent on how much snow we actually get, which, as you saw there, isn't expected to be very much. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to take the wind gust future track. We're going to push this into the future. We'll start it at Friday, and we'll take it into 6 a.m. on Sunday, and we'll see what those winds look like, because the winds are what drive the wind chills down. So we're obviously going to be dealing with some of that. So let's take this into Saturday. And these are the wind gusts, by the way. Once we get into Saturday afternoon, we're not doing too bad. But that's enough wind, especially into early Sunday, should we get that snow, that you're going to start blowing and drifting it around a little bit. And that's why, again, I think it's going to be hard to get anything to stick or accumulate here in our neck of the woods. That's mainly going to be a south event for areas down there. 8-day tracker quick, and then I'll take a couple of your questions here. Thankfully, I still have my voice. I don't know what it is. I think it's this cold weather and the dryness of the air that's just really robbing my voice this week from me. But there you see the weather impact alerts tomorrow into Saturday. We're going to keep an eye on Monday. Monday may also require another weather impact alert for some wind chills depending on the wind speeds. We'll dive into that a little bit deeper here as time goes on. But it still stays cold next week. Got a lot of these days with single-digit overnight lows, both above and below zero, and also your daytime highs only in the teens. So yeah, winter is back. The little polar vortex getting weaker, something we didn't want to see, and unfortunately, that's what's happening right now. All right, we'll come back up on screen here, and we'll start taking some of your questions that we've got in the chat here this morning. Good morning, Bill. Also, good morning to Chris and Kayla. Wondering if tomorrow's wind chills will make it colder here than Antarctica. Yes, because what has happened is Antarctica has displaced or moved its cold air down to our region. So guess who's warming up right now? Yeah, Antarctica. It will likely feel colder here than it is in Antarctica actually at points tomorrow, which is kind of sad when you think about it. Good morning, Billy. He's got a couple of questions here. How intense will the storm be, and do you know the potential millibars for this storm? Thank you for your time, and hope everyone has a wonderful day. Most model data has this high pressure system coming in at 1030, 1030, or 1040 to 1050 millibars, which is really, really strong for this time of year. It is a true Arctic high pressure system. If it can get above 100 or 1050, 1050 millibars, that may potentially break a record in terms of the strength of that high pressure coming in. So we're going to be watching that really closely. Tyler's asking if there's a certain timeline for when we should see the most dangerous cold wind chills. That is going to be, and I'll go back to Future Track so you can see this, it's tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning has the worst wind chills with this entire system. So I'm going to pull up Future Track wind chills one more time, and I'll take you hour by hour here and show you when the worst of those numbers are. So starting at 10 o'clock tonight through at least, I would say 10 a.m., 11 a.m. tomorrow, those would be the worst wind chills. So you got about a 12-hour period, 10 to 10, when we could see the lowest numbers, including those 35 to 40 below zero. This is 10 a.m. tomorrow. Lots of negative 30s on here. Before that, about 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, we had some negative 40s. So that's going to be the time frame for the worst wind chills tomorrow. Dawn is wondering how cold at 9 o'clock tonight. At 9 o'clock tonight, temperatures will be hovering around zero, if not falling below zero. And if you're wondering about the wind chill, here's the 9 o'clock wind chill, 5 below in the Quad Cities, approaching 30 below here in our northernmost hometowns. It arrives really quick tonight as the winds pick up. Now, we're not going to see the crazy wind like we did last night. We're not going to see 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts, but we will see some 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and that's what's pushing these wind chills significantly colder heading into tonight. Want to remind you, we have more streaming opportunities ahead. Chief Meteorologist James Zahara does a usual nightly stream every weekday, every weeknight, and that'll be at 8 o'clock. So make sure and come right back here to the 8+ app this evening. He will be in doing another stream to talk about all of this bitterly cold air and even check and see what the forecast models are saying for snow this weekend too. Has it gone up? Has it gone down? Have we seen a northern shift or a southern shift? It's worth coming back into the app this evening and checking in with James to see what comes our way for the cold and the snow this weekend. But for now, I'm going to let my voice rest up a little bit. We've got GMQC at 11 coming your way right at 11 o'clock, so about 90 minutes from now. Hopefully you're all ready for the cold late this week. You've got your grocery shopping done. You've got your gas filled in your truck or your car or your SUV. Another important tip, make sure at least you have a half a tank of gas in your vehicle with this kind of cold. And if you're traveling, you want to make sure you have that winter weather survival kit. You've got the blankets, the extra coats, something to keep yourself warm, first aid kit, all that good stuff ready to go for the cold for tomorrow and Saturday. Otherwise, stay warm, stay inside if you can the next few days. We'll get through this. It is January in the Midwest after all, but we'll continue tracking it here and let you know if there's any major changes heading into the weekend. Until the 11th, I'll see you then, and enjoy the rest of your Thursday.